Shoop! Welcome inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I'm Booker T, six-time world champ, two-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. Hey, man, what's going on? How you feel today?
Yo, Buck, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, it's Easter Sundays this weekend, so we're going to get to spend some time with the family. Monday, I get the second shot of the vaccine, right? So I'm going to feel nice and ready to go during the summertime. Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
I mean, you know, WrestleMania is coming up. I get my second shot right before I head out to WrestleMania, so I'm pretty excited about that. Man, I've been bummed out today, man, watching the George Floyd. Well, not to George Floyd, actually the cop, he's on trial.
Yeah, Derek Chauvin.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to even say his name, but I've been kind of in and out today. I've been trying to keep myself busy. I've been outside doing a lot of yard work, cutting the grass, whatnot. It's crazy, man. I've been thinking all of these years, right? Every fall come, and the leaves shed on the trees and whatnot. I'm thinking, they turn into fertilizer. I'm thinking, they're gonna, turn into fertilizer. They're gonna, dry up and turn into ash or whatever. But I've realized I got 15 bags of leaves out in the front of my house right now. And I got 20 years of leaves in my yard that just stuck there, man. And I got to get them out. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? You know what I mean? So now I'm trying to, I realize, man, I don't have that, like you see on that commercial, something coming, just, fall in the middle of the lawn, and the lawn looks great. And they're thinking about the lawn instead of the asteroid that just came out of the sky.
Yeah. I know a commercial. Yeah.
So I'm trying to get my grass like that, man. I want the yard of the month sign, in the front yard, even though I'm not in that kind of community, but I just want to feel like I got yard of the month. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to make sure I get it ready for this summer, first and foremost, especially after that little cold snap we had. Kind of messed up a lot of things around the house.
You have some competition, though, over your area for yard of the month, right? I mean, there's some nice people take their landscaping real serious over in your neck of the woods.
This sucker, he just moved in across the street, and he got that sprayed on lawn. You know what I mean? Where you spray, so he come in fresh. He got no trees. He got the fresh, like the turf they play on the golf courses.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I gotta up my game. Even though we don't have deed restrictions here in my area, I say, man, I gotta up my game and get my yard right for this summer. First and foremost, so I've been outside, man, working like a hard worker, man. My guy that cut the yard for me, he told me one day, he said, man, you must got some Mexican in you, bro. He said, because I ain't never seen nobody work like you do, man. That don't need to. You can call somebody and get it done. But and that's the way I feel, man. I feel like when you cannot do it yourself, when you can't put the work in yourself, that's when you're starting to slip. That's when the wheels are going to start to fall off when you find yourself in that position.
Is this where, you kind of go to that silk pajamas metaphor, right? It's hard to hard to get up and train when you're sleeping in silk pajamas? Is that how you stay out of that mentality?
Yeah, man, it really is, man. I went to the store today, actually, a little while ago, and got a couple of bunches of bananas, strawberries. My protein. Um, Always trying to stay ahead of the game, man. Always trying to, um, I always say, of course, God going to catch up with me one of these days, but he gonna be full out stride. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm putting the work in, man. And when you don't put the work in, man, definitely, that's when, like I say, things start to happen. Even when you put the work in, sometimes things start to happen. So I'm on the safer side of life, man, as far as trying to make sure preparation is the only luck you ever gonna have in life. That's me.
We know what you got to be prepared, and if you want to get prepared for this industry, also go check Booker T out at the master class going down tomorrow, right? And always at the World Gym Arena. Speaking of Book, we didn't get to talk about it. Did you enjoy the third annual Roe Ward ceremony that went down last Friday at the Abundant Life Center?
I did, man. Abundant Life Center definitely rolled out the red carpet for Reality of Wrestling. We definitely plan on going back and doing some more stuff there. Definitely Row Wards is I think that could be the home for Row Wards. That place holds about 2,000 people, and I can imagine filling that place up for a really, really cool award ceremony, which is the Row Wards next year. So yeah, man, it was pretty awesome, man. Promise Braxton, I think she got, the star of the night. Even though she got breakout star of the year, I think just her story is captivating. Listen to her talk about, she's never won anything growing up or anything like that. And for me, I can put myself in her shoes from a perspective. When I was dancing, I won dance contests and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
throughout my whole childhood, I never had a birthday party.
Wow. Yeah,
You know,
you know what? It's interesting that you say that because I remember a couple years ago we threw a birthday party at the arena for you. I think you said this was the first birthday party I've ever had.
yeah. I've always have gotten gifts and stuff like that, but
Right.
I don't never remember as a kid having a birthday party. Not just me. My brothers and sisters. I'm sure they went through the same thing, but it just wasn't something that we really, really was focused on as far as something memories. You know what I mean? As far as having that birthday party as a kid, I think we skipped that part in my family. But yeah, man, to hear Promise talk like that, it touched me. It made me feel a certain way. But on the flip side, she said that she had only been in reality wrestling for 2 months, and I gave her a chance. And there again, preparation is the only luck you're ever going to have. She deserved that chance. That's why she got that chance. That's why she's the reality of wrestling diamond division champion. No other reason. And that's what I really, love about reality of wrestling more than anything is to see, the guys, like that come up, the girls, and then the guys like Ed Stone, who came here, invested in reality of wrestling. We invested in him, and I look and I see where Edge is now compared to when he first came to reality of wrestling. His confidence now is literally over the moon. So for me, I think that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So Road Wars, I cannot wait to the next one, man. It's always a moment though, there again, those moments you can't get back. Um, it always, you get choked up somewhere along the way. Even though it's a lighthearted moment. And what got me also big in the abundant life. Nobody said one curse word.
Yeah, yeah. It kept people in check. You know what I mean?
I was waiting on somebody to say, "Damn it, I have something." You know what I mean? But nobody got out alive, man. That's why I say, man, it was pretty awesome. I was just imagining, a crew of my, era, being in that. in that setting right there. They would have had to shut it down. God would have been thunder all
God would have said, "Who's coming?" Oh hell no!
Nah, man, but we speak about you know wrestling 101. One of my students is going to be making her debut on NXT tonight. AQA guys, y'all better support AQA. This is my my prize pupil from Reality of Wrestling. One of Reality of Wrestling's finest is going to be making her debut tonight, and I just hope they do it right more than anything, because let me tell you, Angela is a star. She really is a star. And now she's on the cusp of becoming a superstar. So my thing is, I just cannot wait to see AQA, guys. If you haven't, gotten a chance to see AQA, go to Reality of Wrestling YouTube channel and then pull up AQA, watch some of her stuff. I'm talking about in the school for a very short amount of time, theoretically. And to make it to that level in that short amount of time is extraordinary. Guys, stick around. We got a whole lot for you. You're in the Hall of Fame. Back in a minute.
This is Booker T World Gym Arena in Texas City, the home to the Reality of Wrestling Training Center. It's a 20,000 square foot facility with more than 50 full-time students and wrestlers from around the world. Inside the World Gym Arena sits a 9,000 square foot venue set up for weekly shows. From on top, 1-2 moonsault, where our students showcase their skills in front of a live audience.
What he's done here is awesome. He's created opportunity and he's creating great talent, as you guys well know.
In the back, a full weight room.
6 up!
Complete with state-of-the-art equipment and personal trainers.
There you go. Two more.
A full staff and office personnel.
One more.
Running the day-to-day operation. We have interview sets for TV production, promo classes, quarterly combines. We evaluate progression and team building. Referees, commentators, ring announcers, and live television production. At the World Gym Arena, we don't just teach you how to become a professional wrestler, but an elite sports entertainer. This is Reality of Wrestling.
Shoop! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I got a whole lot to talk about right now. That I think the hottest topic that's going around right now on the internet, I think will be Bobby Lashley, MVP in the Hurt Business, imploding. Now we seem to be, I don't know. It seemed to be a great thing. I don't know. I like the faction. Okay,
I loved it.
I like the faction. I was not sold on Cedric Alexander in the beginning, but the way I looked at the Cedric deal was, I was like, man, this is a young cat. The veteran guys bringing him in, trying to school him a little bit. He seemed to have been picking up, certain traits as far as what it takes to make it, through that glass ceiling more than anything. And as far as the collective of the Hurt Business, man, I loved it. Anthony Banks, he had a question. He said, what do you think about the way they have booked Lashley since winning the title? They seem to be pushing Drew stronger than the champ. Hate to see Bobby playing a Ric Flair style champ, then breaking up the hottest group in wrestling. Now the Hurt Business. Anthony, I agree with you.
I do too.
I agree with you. And that's the thing, man. is Bobby, for me, the guy, when I look at the show and say, man, this guy right here. When Bobby walks out the curtain, okay, I say, man, this dude, there again, has prepared himself to be in this position. Are they pushing, Drew McIntyre stronger than they are pushing Bobby? I haven't been watching a whole lot of Drew stuff lately. Make me, catch me up on that, Bradley.
Well, it's not even so much what he's doing as far as an in-ring standpoint. I mean, he's just being presented as the guy, which in a lot of ways, the Drew side of it, I don't so much have an issue with, because he's going to main event WrestleMania for the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
He should be getting pushed.
You got to push him.
You got to push him. He's got to look strong. He's got to look like an imposing force. He's got to, and he's the babyface. He's got to be the who's going to stop the conqueror, right? Today, King Kong versus Godzilla came out, right? You want to see a clash of monsters. You want to see them battle in the ring. But from the Bobby standpoint, I feel like the lead up to the title, he looked like this sawed-off monster, right? I mean, going in there, wrecking shop, taking no prisoners, hurt lock, tap out, everybody. The way that he destroyed The Miz for the title, perfect. And then you take away, really, almost everything that was making him great. On Monday night, and I just say that this isn't how I would present my champion. On Monday night, they break up the Hurt Business, and Bobby, who I don't think has left his feet in 6 months, right? Meaning, I don't think he's taken a bump for anybody in 6 months. Bobby gets suplexed by Shelton Benjamin. Now, could Shelton Benjamin actually do that to Bobby Lashley? Absolutely. Shelton Benjamin's a badass. But I just felt like it puts Bobby in this position of, okay, wait, so Shelton body slams the unstoppable monster. So is Shelton getting the shot at WrestleMania for the title? Because now Shelton looks like the aggressor in the situation. Shelton looks like there's something being built there, as opposed to just letting them stay as that full force faction. And then maybe at WrestleMania, if you want to make Drew have to overcome all odds, Hurt Business can get involved in some way, and Drew's really like a 4-on-1 or what have you. I just don't like how he's being presented at the current moment. And the Hurt Business, in my opinion, was the best faction in wrestling in the last 3 years, 4 years. There's been nothing like it on television. And to take somebody like Shelton, who wasn't doing anything on the show meaningful, you would just see him here and there. To take Cedric Alexander, who is someone we were like, oh, yeah, the guy in the cruiserweight division, right? Oh, okay, he does all the flips and stuff. To take them, pair them with Envy and Bobby, and make them seem like, and not make them seem like, make them a legitimate tag team and a threat to everybody on the roster, put the titles on them, and then in 3 weeks, the titles are off of them. They're suplexing each other. They're kicked out of the Hurt Business. It's just, to me, right before WrestleMania. I'm hot about it. I'm hot about it.
I can tell, man. You know what I liked was, like I say, the class of the Hurt Business.
Yes.
It wasn't too overdone or anything like that, as far as having too many members, trying to make it something that it wasn't. It was 4 guys, that was, banding together to create something. And I thought they did that even without the tag team championship. With the Hurt Business being a collective and taking Bobby Lashley to the World Heavyweight Championship. I think that's what it was and should have been all about. And for me, man, I'd see another 6 months to a year running this deal.
Easy.
As far as Bobby Lashley being the guy. I don't know. This kind of came out of left field as far as the Hurt Business breaking up. You can kind of like see the rumblings there for a minute, but I was hoping that this not finna happen. But I don't know, man. I don't know. This totally came out of left field, and if I had anything to do with how the thing was being portrayed, Hurt Business definitely be. We talked about the Hurt Business being as well as MVP being MVP through the pandemic era.
Yeah.
We talked about that. And I really believe that, at certain times, I'm going to tell you, I would see MVP at least 3, 4, sometimes 5 times in one night on the show. So those guys definitely, I don't think was given anything. I think those guys earned everything that was given to them. And to see it come to an end, I must say that I'm sad to see it come to an end. But I'm gonna say this and say it publicly. MVP did a hell of a job pulling that faction together, creating something, and really there again, putting himself back in the driver's seat, because MVP was out of the game for a minute. But when he came back like the $6 million man. We can make this man better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster. That's what MVP was. Not the faster part, but that's what it but he definitely was better.
He definitely was better. You're not even going to go stronger anymore. But he was definitely better. No, I mean, and I think we even had Envy on the we had Envy on the show, and I told him, I said, and I still might hold to this. The work he's doing now is going to be what people talk about 5-10 years from now. Hey, man, you remember that run with the Hurt Business and Bobby Lashley? MVP was so great right then, man. Oh, he was so. And again, like you said, I saw another year of the Hurt Business. Because here's the thing. You know this. There's the heel faction. They run real heavy for a minute, and then the fans really start liking them, and they have that babyface run, right? I mean, you could have extended it out. You could have extended it out.
That's what they said about King Booker. They're like, man, you got a babyface run in you, man. You got. I'm like, man, I got to get out of here. But I definitely did have a babyface run in me if that was something I chose to do. But
their merch was so dope too. Those Hurt Business merch shirts, with the kind of gold flake.
Gold.
Yeah.
The gold actually looked like it was real gold.
Looked like it was dripping off the shirt.
I was serious.
And if there were fans during a babyface run for the Hurt Business, that whole crowd, it'd be a sea of Hurt Business shirts. It'd be a sea of them.
Yeah.
And that's really, and I'm just thinking of it now as I'm saying it, but having the inability to have the Hurt Business in front of a live crowd as that 4-man collective and really feel the heat coming from the fans in this build-up to WrestleMania. It's a travesty that they didn't get to do this in front of tens of thousands of people on a weekly basis.
Nah, man. Like I say, it seemed like it doesn't seem real. I'm serious. When I was watching it, and I was watching Cedric Alexander do the interview there, and then Shelton walks in and said, how long are you gonna keep it without us? I was like, man, you know what? I swear, man, I felt a little bit of something. I'm like, wow, man, it's over with, and it seemed like it was over before it got started. That's the bad part right there. I can't remember quite who. I don't know who was doing that interview. Who was doing that interview?
On Monday?
Yeah. Who's doing that?
I don't remember.
Because I know it's not Charlie Caruso, because we got to talk about Charlie. What, man? I was just saying. You like the way I set that up?
I do. That's called the tease, ladies and gentlemen.
We got to take a break here, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame.
I see a sky with a reindeer Corvette on the run. I see a train moving all too fast, but I'm not leaving. And you go round and round and round, and you cannot see how good right now you are.
Shoop! I'm back. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah, man, I was just checking out earlier. Charlie Caruso, former interviewer, backstage kickoff show personality, has taken a full-time gig with ESPN. She's leaving the company when her contract is up. It's supposed to be up here pretty soon. And boom, she's up out of there, heading to ESPN with us. What do you think about that?
I mean, I know that she's been doing the stuff with First Take for a while now, right? I mean, she's been over there with Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith hosting duties over there. Her and Molly splitting the time on the mic. But it seems to be a natural progression. People, you can only do so much, and then you want to move on. I did like Charlie Caruso when she was on television. Obviously, she's not a hard person to look at for an extended period of time. And coupled with that, she seems like a traditional broadcaster, and sometimes that's refreshing. That's not just a personality. This is someone who's a broadcaster. So best of luck to her. You obviously knew her way more than I do, and I'm sure you have an opinion on this. Well, what do you think of Charlie leaving? And what are you going to remember about Charlie Caruso during your time working with her?
Not a whole lot.
What a ringing endorsement that is.
Not that Charlie wasn't cool people or anything like that, but Charlie had her lane. I got my lane. We come to work, we do our thing. I try not to cross lines or anything like that when I could be like this politician, had the young girl running around going from state to state. I could be in trouble like him, Gates. I could be like him. You know what I mean? So I try to make sure I don't cross no lines when it comes to work or anything like that. I look at it as work and work only. I try not to make friends or anything like that. We know who my friends are. Charlie was a business acquaintance. I'm happy to see her, moving on. I saw she made a statement to respond to the backstage heat rumblings that's going around the internet. And she said, no backstage heat or anything like that. I didn't have one problem with anyone at WWE. As far as I'm concerned, I'm leaving on good terms. It's not verbatim or anything like that. I'm paraphrasing. But she seems to be happy. She didn't throw no dirt, no shade on WWE or anything like that. It seems like she's in a happy place.
And you know what? That's the only thing we can be. I read those same reports that things were going on backstage, and you never know.
The two names they threw out too, Sheamus and Randy Orton. They throw two of the biggest names out in the company that you could get some. You about to get some heat. You it got to be true if it's got these two names involved with it. So it's just sad, man, to see stuff like that on the internet.
Let me ask you this though: how did you always manage, for the most part? You had maybe one or two skirmishes, backstage, but how did you kind of stay out of all the backstage drama and politics? I mean, because your name is never really brought up that often as, oh man, Booker T was always out there, stirring the pot or this, that, and the other.
Man, it was really easy for me to like stay under the radar. I wasn't one of those types to want to be a part of a whole lot of drama or anything like that. I wasn't going to be the guy that was going to be bring a lot of attention to himself. Those are the guys that normally find themselves looking for a job sometime along the way. You know what I mean? So for me, talent. I always focused on that and that alone. Go out and do my job. Just like my student that's going to be making her debut on NXT tonight. I always say, you got to go out and your losses got to be better than your wins. You know what I mean? So for me, I was always concentrating on what I needed to do to stay in a certain place on the roster, getting paid a certain amount of money. That was it. I had no other objectives. When you want to be everybody's buddy, that's when you can get into a lot of trouble. When you having a allegiance, with this group over here, that's when things start to, you start to get in a lot of trouble, because normally the regime always changes. And normally when the regime change, everybody underneath might change as well. So for me, I always said, if I'm talent, no matter what regime come in, I'm going to be a guy that person wanted on their team. So for me, it was relatively easy. I never got any heat or anything like that. At least I don't remember getting any heat. I was one of those guys who said, man, as long as the boss liked me, I'm good.
Yeah.
Well,
At least any heat that anybody ever came to you with, right?
Yeah, no one never came to me and said, man, Book, you got heat. You know what I mean? You need to, straighten up around here, But I remember when I first got there, a guy told me I could get heat for taking a nap in the locker room. He said, man, you don't want to do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, you that right there, you can get heat, doing that. And I'm taking a nap. What are you talking about? So for me, I'm sure that guy who told me that, if he was sleeping, he would have gotten heat because he's not talent.
Well, it's funny. I remember something happened at a reality wrestling show one time, and I can't remember the exact situation, but all the boys were talking about it, right, backstage. Something had gone down, some incident. And I remember your brother was there. He was when he was still doing Stevie Ray Incorporated at the time. And, I was standing with him and one or two other guys, and one of the guys looked over to him and said, Stevie, well, what do you think? And Stevie said, look, bro, my name's Bennett, and I ain't in it. And then he just turned around and walked away, right? And when I saw that, I said, what a great life lesson I just witnessed. Stevie Ray was just like, look, I don't have time for all this BS y'all are talking about. It has nothing to do with me, so I'm not going to concern myself with it. And he walked away. I'll never forget that as long as I live, because it was one of those eye-opening experiences for me when I was real young. Like, wow, just don't talk about it. Don't be involved in it. Just walk away, and everything's going to be all right.
I know nothing. I see nothing. It's one of those type of deals, My brother and I, we learned that a long time ago. This promoter overseas, he said, I know nothing, I see. There are a lot of boys, they doing a lot of stuff. The promoter, I know nothing, I see nothing.
Because I know just from our locker room, sometimes when people start talking, it can get out of hand. I mean, it can get way out of hand, and there could even, and sometimes it's the game of telephone, right? But I always think of this other thing that you said is, also don't put yourself in situations like that. Just don't put yourself in situations where it could be a problem, right? Yeah, you talked about the time you went in LA and someone asked you if you wanted to party, or you talk about the time where one of the boys was dipped off with somebody who wasn't his wife, and he said no one ever said anything to him about it, but everybody lost respect for him.
Yeah.
Those are those small little details and stories that I've heard you tell over the years that are the ones that I'm always going to think about no matter where I am, because they're so applicable to life. And things can really get out of hand, but it's just you got to know how to maneuver in the game.
Yeah. You guys know the lingo, man. It's like wrestling, man. You got to know the terminologies. When somebody tell you to duck one hip toss, arm drag, get it again. You gotta understand what all that means in order to decipher it and say, boom, I got it. Let's go. If some hot chick come up to you and say, do you party? You might say, yeah, I party all night long. You know what I mean?
Woo!
Twice on Sunday. And then next thing you know, you realize what partying really means. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. No, I don't do that. So you got to know the terminology and the lingo when you're out there messing around, man, because seriously, you can get in a whole lot of trouble if you ain't, watching your back, staying on your P's and Q's. Seriously. We got to take a break, man. Is it that time?
We got to take a break, and we got to talk about this road to WrestleMania is coming to a close, Book. A lot of matches have been announced. Yes.
Yeah, road to WrestleMania. I want to talk about that too, man. But I definitely want to talk about that boy John Bones Jones is back in the news, man. Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I'm Christian Harloff.
I am Mark Baby Carousel.
We started the Movie Trivia Schmoedown back 2014.
The Schmoedown, as we know, we got a little bit of a WWE flavor to it. You get 8 different questions from the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Galaxy. Patreon question. This one comes from Jake the Hammer. The wheel round.
You're kidding me.
This is why we play the Schmoedown.
What the Movie Trivia Schmoedown is all about.
Star Wars Inner Geekdom teams.
Singles, Celebrity Schmoedown. Get ready for it. It's going to be something.
Then let's get ready to Schmoedown.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Oh man, I know you want to talk about the road to WrestleMania. What do you want? What do you want to cover first?
I mean, you seem like John Jones is on your heart. We can get to WrestleMania in the back half.
John Jones. I mean, just to hear him talk, he said, "Man, fight with Ngannou. It could happen, but $8 to $10 million is way too low. That's below the budget as far as what he's looking for to come back to fight Francis Ngannou, the new UFC undisputed heavyweight champion. What do you think about that? I mean, 8 to 10 mil. I mean, is that good money or not for a UFC heavyweight fight? Have the money been much higher than that in past UFC heavyweight? Talk to me about that. I mean, can you look up the highest paid?
I'll look that up right now.
Heavyweight championship fight, and if it was anywhere near $10 million, man, maybe you got a case. But if this is the case, we may never see John Jones ever again.
I'm looking this up as of now, but I can't imagine that there's anywhere close to that. But
the reason I say that, man, and trust me, I know where John Jones is coming from, because the fight game, it's a it's could be do or die every time you step inside the octagon. But when you lose the love of the fight game and you're only fighting for the money, I think that's when things could get a little bit clouded. I think that's where the career part, goes out of the window, as far as, one being the GOAT, being the greatest of all time. And the reason I say that, because I'm sure guys like Anderson Silva had money issues. I'm sure they had discussions about it. I'm sure Daniel Cormier had issues about money. And I'm sure it was discussed and perhaps, fixed. Who was Jorge Masvidal not too long ago was having money issues. And he said, man, if the money ain't right, I'm not going to go and fight. I understand that. Boom, things got, right. Money was right. Circumstances was right. Boom, he's back in action. But I don't think Jorge Masvidal fights only for the money, and I just think, John Jones, as of late, the only thing it's been about is the money. And trust me, there again, don't get me wrong, I want to get paid. I want to get paid just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But when you throw $8 to $10 million off the table, out of the window, it's letting me know that either you really don't want to fight, or the only reason you are fighting is for the money.
So the highest paid single check for a UFC heavyweight fighter that's been disclosed is at UFC 200, when the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar made his return to the octagon to face Mark Hunt in the co-main event. Brock got paid a disclosed $2.5 million. $2.5 million. to fight Mark Hunt at UFC 200. At the last UFC pay-per-view event, UFC 260, the championship was on the line in the main event for the heavyweight title. One of the participants that we're talking about with this John Jones fight, Stipe Miocic, got paid $790,000, and Francis Ngannou, the new heavyweight champion of the world, $730,000. So John Jones is saying getting paid 10 times what the current heavyweight champion of the world just got paid to fight is too low.
Yeah, that's what he's.
Do you think that there's that much money in this fight?
No, it's not.
It's not.
No.
Am I curious? Do I want to see it? Is it a money fight? Yeah. It's not a Mayweather fight.
No, it's not. History. This is not a history-making fight or anything like that. Other than John Jones coming out of retirement to fight for the heavyweight championship, that's the only history about it. But it's not one of those, Tommy Hearn, Sugar Ray Leonard build-ups or Mike Tyson versus, whoever, Lennox Lewis. It's nowhere near anything like that. I'm just trying to figure out where is he coming up with this number? As far as $8 to $10 million, that's too low. As if they've come to him and offered him $8 to $10 million.
So here's what's being said. These are the exact quotes from John Jones on his Twitter at Johnny Bones. He said, I had a brief phone meeting with UFC's lawyer Hunter a few days ago. As of right now, I expressed to him that anywhere around $8 to $10 million would be too low for a fight of this magnitude. That's all that's been discussed so far. I'm supposed to be waiting on what their offer is going to be. Really hoping the numbers are nowhere near that low. I guess we'll see what happens.
That's unbelievable, man. That's unbelievable.
Let me ask you this, because I'm not going to say that John Jones is afraid of any man on this planet. But, I mean, is it kind of like, hey, I'm going to throw this astronomical number out here because I really don't want that smoke?
Maybe that's it, or this guy is smoking way too much these days. I'm serious, dog.
Yeah, I feel you.
No, the reason I say that is because I can understand John Jones wanting the money, okay? I can understand him wanting $10 million, $8 to $10 million, whatever, $20 million. But to voice his grievance through Twitter or Facebook or Instagram with the people, the public, like they're the one who's gonna help him get this money, and I don't know. I'm from the neighborhood. From the neighborhood, you talk about how much money you're gonna be getting. Somebody might be waiting on you to get that money. So why would you be talking about numbers like that to the public? That just is asinine. That makes no sense at all for him to do something like that. It just goes to show how unintelligent this guy really is as far as making decisions. And we've known John Jones have made some bad decisions in his life. So have I. But I'm not going to leave town and go on Twitter and say, hey guys, I'm out of town right now. Okay? Nobody's
My
home.
house is open for business.
Nobody there but the dog. And she's 60 years old. All right. So why I'm not going to advertise, my business. And I have a problem with that. Even when I hear, WWE guys talking about certain things on Twitter, social media and whatnot, it irks me because I'm like, wait a minute, this is business that should be between you, your family, and the people that's closest to you, like your agent, your lawyer, but not your Twitter or your Instagram followers. That is that's beyond me. It really is.
It took me forever to understand what the actual lyric meant, but Lil Wayne, the great philosopher of our time, once said, real G's move in silence like lasagna. And it took me forever to realize that the G in lasagna is silent, but that's what you're supposed to do, right? If you're really going to be about it, you keep that on the low. You do all your dealing behind closed doors. This negotiating in public strategy, and don't get me wrong, John Jones is not the only guy who's done this. in the history of this sport. He's not the only guy who's done it. He's just the most recent guy. Conor McGregor has done it by these stunt retirements every 3 months. Jorge Masvidal, although we mentioned him a minute ago, he's done it. Where he's like, I'm not fighting unless it's for this, this, and that. And they do this negotiating in public. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. If you're a businessman, you come to the table, you say, here's my offer. They make your offer. You try to come to some sort of compromise within the middle because you're never going to agree on what you're worth. What they think you're worth and what you think you're worth are always going to be two different things. So you kind of come to that agreement. John Jones, I want to see you fight. There's no way on God's green earth, unless this pay-per-view does 2.5 to 3 million buys, you can ever justify that type of income. It's just it's an impossibility, and it's incomprehensible that you would even say such an astronomical number like that, which leads me to think he really doesn't want the fight. Or he thinks the UFC is stupid. One of the two.
You know, I'll take door number one. I don't think he want because Ngannou is a different type of fighter. He's a true heavyweight. Ngannou, I think he was 20 pounds heavier than Stipe?
Yeah.
You know, and
23.
I'm like, exactly. So this guy's not looking to come in at, felt heavyweight. He's coming in,
he's a true heavyweight.
He's coming in to hurt somebody. He's coming in to lean on somebody. And somebody like John Jones, we've seen John Jones as of late. And if John Jones fight the same way we saw John Jones fight here in Houston, Francis Ngannou, lunch, if that's what John Jones has left in the tank. We don't know what John Jones been sitting on the sidelines. We know he love, the recreation. All right, let's just say that. I'm serious. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But too much of it, when you're in that line of work, it definitely can hurt you. Guys, you're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
Can you dig it, you sucker?
You know how WWE is, man. You're on the road, you're on the road. Like, you're working your ass off, right? Mm-hmm. So I happened to have a Sunday off, and I was sitting at home, and I had literally an ice bag on both knees, and then my bell on my gate, bell just started going off, over and over and over, right? And I'm like, what the hell? What the? So I jumped up, the ice bags flew everywhere, right? And I go out, open my door, I go, who is it? And they go, it's Booker T here. I said, oh, hell. So I walked to the door and I said, God, get away from here, guys. This is my house, And literally it was an 18-year-old and like a 19-year-old. One was on a mini bike and one was on a go-kart. One of them goes, we want some autographs. I said, get out of here. He said, well, F you then, N-word. And boom, literally. I was so mad, right? They took off on the go-kart in the mini bike. It literally, my head is fuming. I go and jump into my Hummer, right? Charmel's like, baby, no, don't do it, baby, stop. So I'm like, no. I jumped in, roll out of the gate, right? I go down the street. I look both ways. I couldn't see him, right? And I just said, I'm going to take a guess and go right. So I went right, went down a little bit, and I saw both of them, okay? And I was like, oh, I got him now. Now, the one on the mini bike, it was a little ditch area. He got through that ditch area. The Hummer couldn't get there. The one on the go-kart, he tried to go. I blocked him off. Now, he turns around, and he's in these people's yard. And this yard that this go-kart is in is probably a couple of $1 million house. He starts doing donuts in these people's front yard. Dirt, grass going everywhere. And I know these people were so upset when they came outside that next morning.
What the hell?
So he comes out on the street. He rolls down the street a little bit. I get behind him in the Hummer. I'm on him like this, right? Rolling down the street. So he gets scared. So he goes in some more people's yard and he goes a little ditch. And the chain comes off the go-kart. I commence to power walk towards him. I say, you better not run. I grab him by the back of the head, takes him to my Hummer, tosses him in. I get in the Hummer and I go, okay, now call me the N-word now. And then he was so scared. And he said, I'm sorry, my friend. Oh, I got it. I said, okay, I'll tell you what, you're going to take me to your house right now because I want to talk to your parents and tell them exactly what you said to me, right? So we're literally about no more than 2 blocks away. Before I got him a block towards where we were going to, there was several police cars behind me.
Driver, pull over now!
A brother walking in the neighborhood late. Something could happen. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. T 6-time world champion Brad Gilmore cruising along here, guys. But what you got, man? What you got? We just talked about John Jones. I mean, we've covered that. He ain't getting no $10 million. He ain't getting $8 million. If you get 5, he should be happy. That's the way I look at it.
Well, I guess, and we can talk about this event more when we get to it because it's still some time away, a little about 6 weeks away. But in Houston, Texas, at the Toyota Center, UFC 262 is going to be going down.
Yeah.
And they announced the main event and the co-main event. Want to get your reaction to both and kind of an early prediction, if you will. And we can really break them down more when we get into it. But let's start with the co-main event that was announced today. Leon Edwards, who we just saw fight, what was that, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, Bilal Muhammad. Yeah.
When he fought Bilal Muhammad and it ended with a accidental eye poke and no contest. He said that he wanted a title shot next. Well, the UFC surprisingly did not honor his wishes, and they threw him Nate Dog Diaz instead to fight him in Houston, Texas on the 15th of May. 5-round co-main event, non-title. I think it's only like the second co-main event in history that's gone for 5 rounds and not been for a title. Book, what do you think about Nate Diaz versus Leon Edwards? Does that fight excite you? Does it interest you? And who do you think the early favorite would be?
But be honest, I don't know how much interest I got in that fight, just because it was just put together. But I do know this: Leon Edwards is a guy that's highly touted. We've been wondering, when is Leon Edwards going to get, a shot? And I think this is Leon Edwards' shot right here. I think this is his shot to prove how good he really is. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, against Bilal Muhammad, he didn't show me a whole lot, okay? As well as it was a 5-round fight. It was a whole lot more left. That was it wasn't a championship bout, but it was a main event. It was 5 rounds, and they had plenty of fight left. And I did not see Muhammad going away in that fight. Now, against Nate Diaz, one thing about Nate Diaz, no one's ever going to question him as far as his heart go, as far as, is he a real bona fide fighter? Of course, he's a guy that's going to come, he's going to fight. If he get hit in the face, he's going to still come forward, just like with Conor McGregor. So I think this is going to be a really, really good test for Leon Edwards, for the world, to see exactly how good he really is. Because if you have trouble with Nate Diaz, at the stage of Nate Diaz right now, as far as where he is in his career, as far as him getting the championship title shot, it's all going to predicate to what happened in this fight. And I think Nate Diaz might be that bump in the road. Nate Diaz could be that door that he can't unlock. I don't know, but I do know Nate Diaz, with hands, stock to slap, jiu-jitsu, ground game, he's a complete fighter. And I think this is the best that Leon Edwards has, faced thus far.
I agree with your assessment wholeheartedly. And here's the other thing, is both of these guys are coming off of fights where the doctor had to stop it, right? There were 2 stoppage fights. Of course, Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz, the BMF championship match back in New York. What was that, 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
At the end of November 2019. And then we just saw the Bilal Muhammad and Leon Edwards fight. I don't know, though. I mean, okay, So if Nate beats Leon, you think that's a title shot for Nate?
It should be.
I don't know. I mean, coming off of a
I
loss
think
and
I think these guys are fighting for,
who's
you know,
next in line?
yeah, who's next in line? I think the test is more for Leon Edwards than it is for Nate Diaz. Okay, but Nate Diaz could be that there again. That one to just throw a whole monkey in the wrench and everything. Just have to switch gears and go a totally different direction because if Nate Diaz win the fight, he's gonna say it. Didn't I tell you guys? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you?
I'm not surprised. Remember,
exactly. It's gonna be something like that. So, I think if I had to pick somebody, I'd pick Nate Diaz.
But don't you think like a number one contender match on paper, when you look at that 155 division, would be something like Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier? Shouldn't those guys be the next two to be considered?
Yeah. Oh, on paper. Yeah. But just like Justin Gaethje said, he thought he was a part of this deal.
The main event, right? Yeah.
Things always in the business card subject to change. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But there again, I'm gonna, if I had to pull with somebody, I'm gonna go Diaz, and I'm almost 100% sure the betting odds are going to be in Diaz's favor going into this fight.
We'll see.
I could be wrong. But I would think they would be thinking the same thing I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't know if a line's opened on that fight yet since it was just announced. Oh no, the line has been set. Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, the line for UFC 262's co-main event is going to see Nate Diaz taking on Leon Edwards. Nate Diaz, according to the fight books, is the minus 275 favorite against Leon Edwards, giving him 3-1 odds. Leon Edwards is at plus 220. The Vegas has Nate Diaz at a 75% chance of winning this fight.
How do I know these things?
I will say I'm impressed by that. Because Leon Edwards hasn't lost a fight in like 5 years.
How do I know these things, man? How do I know these things? How do I know it? Huh? Can you figure it out?
No, I can't. I guess who's ever doing these are the same guy who put Stipe as the underdog in literally every championship fight he's ever had.
Nah, man. I think the way the people are looking at this thing is somewhat the way I'm looking at it. They're looking at the pedigree. They're looking at the history leading up to this fight more than anything. It's got so much more to do than this fight. I think it's got so much to do with fights that Nate has had with other guys, as well as vice versa with Edwards. Him having fights with certain guys just doesn't match up. Heart, the way this last fight went, the way you hear Leon Edwards talking, just totally dismissing Bilal Muhammad like he would really won that fight. Like, you saw I was winning the fight, so it just lets me know a whole lot, and then again, he's a foreigner. You can't trust him.
Hey, we have an international audience here on Hall of Fame, so these comments are made by Booker T. Huffman and Booker T. Huffman alone. I do not endorse them, no support them, no appreciate them.
You know what I'm talking about, man.
But I heard the same interview that you did. I think it was you're talking about the Joe Rogan interview that he did.
Yeah.
Because he said, oh, we all saw where that fight was going. We saw it, fight was over.
The fight was over.
Fight was over. I'm like, no, it wasn't. like it wasn't even close to being over.
I was winning the fight. And the thing is, he might have been winning the fight, but it's 5 rounds in a fight.
I know that's like saying you're running a 2-mile race and you had the lead 100 feet in, and you're like, I'm gonna stop. We can see where this is going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can see where this is going.
Well, we've seen guys in the fight game, in the UFC, on the cusp of getting knocked out, on the cusp of getting stopped, and boom, land a big shot, and the fight is over with. So for him to make that comment, it almost was like a cop out. It was almost like, yeah, I don't want to go back down that road and fight that guy again because it's not worth what could possibly happen if we did get to a late in the fourth or fifth round. Because, like I say, Muhammad, I've seen him fight before. There's nothing soft about him, and I felt like he was gonna fight to the end, no matter what. Leon Edwards would have had to literally separate him from consciousness. Would be the only way that he would have stopped coming forward. That's the only way I see that. Would he have won that fight, Leon Edwards? Perhaps, but
Probably. But you don't know.
Perhaps I'm not. I can't even say probably, because we got nowhere near that stage where it was that one-sided. Well, you could say Leon Edwards was dominant in this fight. I didn't see that. I don't know about everybody else, but I didn't see that.
Well, I'll tell you this: when you just said in the UFC, we've seen guys look like they're about to get beat, and then they all of a sudden come back. There's two fights that come to mind instantly: Alexander Volkov, Derek Lewis. Right? I mean, Alexander Volkov was beaten his behind all the way through the fight. Last 20 seconds, that H-bomb hits him, and next thing you know, that's all she wrote. The other one, Ben Askren versus Robbie Lawler.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben Askren looked like he was going to be out early, and then he rallies back, chokes him out. I mean, anything can happen to the UFC, so I actually think it's beyond ignorant of Leon Edwards to say something like that. You know, being a fighter, he should know what could happen.
Definitely. Hey, man, we got to break. We got to take a break. Stick around, guys. Got a little bit more for you. Back in a minute.
And here we go. Oh, the rules are simple. There are very few. Oh, my God! No, wind it up. Here, maximum velocity. Bartow goes for a ride, and that is not a soft landing. I can assure you of that. Official can do absolutely nothing about it. Even Max Humberto is disturbed by his own actions. Wait a minute. Oh, no. God in heaven! Put a stop to this!
And Max Humberto is the new Reality of Wrestling Texas champion.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Talking a little UFC right now. Coming to the H. You know, I'm gonna have, by the time they get here, bro, I'm gonna have a vax. You know, so I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about stepping out.
I'm with you.
Thinking about stepping out and getting out in the public, and I'm still gonna wear a mask. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
you're not a crazy person.
partially, in certain places, but definitely looking forward to getting back. Man, I can't wait to get back out there. And there again, man, right here in the city, man. Looking forward to it. What's that main event, though?
The main event is for the UFC, the vacant UFC lightweight championship of the world. Charles Oliveira taking on the former three-time Bellator lightweight champion, Michael Chandler, who's undefeated so far in his UFC run, but he's only had one fight, so we'll see.
Charles New Bronx Oliveira. What is New Bronx? What does that mean?
Your guess is as good as mine. I'll look it up.
Yeah, because it sounds like it's it's like some toughs, like it's from the hood or something. New Bronx Oliveira. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Oliveira, Chandler. And we talk about the odds on that fight right there. I'm not going to say what the odds are right now, but I'm going to talk about the difference between these two fighters. Michael Chandler coming in hot. Michael Chandler always been a guy that has been known for having big hands. I'm talking about dynamite, and his left and right hand, it can put you out, boom, in a heartbeat. Now, Dan Hooker, he felt that, and he felt it real quick. Then again, for me, that seemed like a different Dan Hooker than I had seen. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it seemed like a different Dan Hooker that I had seen in past fights. It just seemed like I don't know. Sometimes, fighters, just don't have the feel.
They can't get up for the fight.
Exactly. It's like the movie Cliffhanger. And the girl asked Stallone, come on, you need to, get back up there. And then Stallone tell her, look, sometimes you just lose the feel. One of my favorite lines, and that's what I think it is with the fight game. Sometimes you come and you just cold. You're just not ready to go out there and do combat. And boom, one shot put you to sleep, and that's what happened with Hooker. Chandler, bad boy. He looked great. Can he do it again? That's gonna be the question. Can he do it against someone like Charles Oliveira? Charles Oliveira's he's no spring chicken or anything like that. Charles Oliveira is not a guy who just jumped in the UFC and he's trying to find his wits about himself. This is a guy who's cut his teeth. I've watched Oliveira grow up inside that cage, and he's grown. He's a grown man now. He's a totally different fighter, and we watched his last fight. Now, Tony Ferguson is not the easiest fighter to fight. Okay. No. But Charles Oliveira went out and made Tony Ferguson look mortal. Not just from throughout one round, but throughout the whole fight. He made him look like he was on a totally different tier as far as, I could be wrong.
Well, to be fair to Michael Chandler, in the same way that Dan Hooker seemed like a different fighter, that Tony Ferguson seemed like a different Tony Ferguson post Justin Gaethje loss.
Well, you know what? You might be right about that, because I said after that fight he could have brain damage.
Yeah,
I said it was at the end of that fight with Justin Gaethje, just the way Tony Ferguson was walking, it seemed like this guy should have put in his card right then and there and said, I'm checking out of this fight game. That's just the way I saw it. And then coming back, he did look like a totally different fighter. Is that a good enough excuse?
I mean, yeah, that's really in the eye of the beholder, but I think that it doesn't take away from the victory from Charles Oliveira, and nor does it take away from the victory of Michael Chandler. Here's my question. By the way, Charles Oliveira's nickname, the gym that he trains at, is called the Bronx. So his nickname means of the Bronx. That's all it means. But is this too much too soon for Michael Chandler? Because think about this. If he goes out and he loses in his second UFC fight to Charles Oliveira, and it happens to be for the championship, it's going to be a long climb back. Now, if he gets it and he punches his ticket, phenomenal. It's a great story. But is it too much too soon?
I don't know. We don't know how good Michael Chandler really is.
It's true.
We always say, the toughest guys are here in the UFC. And then, as soon as he walks in the UFC against Dan Hooker, he goes out there and just washes him. You know what I mean? Just waste him, just get him out of the way. Just that, in grand fashion too. Boom. It wasn't like it was a rough night at the office at all. And you go, wow, is this guy really that good? You wonder. I know, I'm sure he's, on cloud nine himself. He's got to be on cloud nine to be calling out Khabib. You know what I'm saying? He's the one guy who could stop Khabib. So I don't know if that's just, bravado, guys saying, that to, sell tickets, sell the fight, create the image, and me personally, if that is, bravado and creating the image, I'm all for it. I like the way, he's going by about doing it. It's all about the fight game and who's the best, and the best should fight the best. I like that about Michael Chandler. Is he going to run into a buzzsaw, with Charles Oliveira? Well, I think this is going to be it's going to be a test of all tests for him, because there again, Oliveira has, I wouldn't say the best stand-up, but he's pretty good stand-up. I do know his ground game is extraordinary. So it's going to be definitely a good test.
And I'm looking forward to it. It's May 15th here in Houston, Texas, UFC 262. We have 261 right around the corner. That's Kamaru, Jorge Masvidal. A lot of great stuff going on there. We didn't talk about Tyron. What are you talking about Tyron from UFC 260? What
Man, he's
Tyron
done.
Woodley.
He's
What is that?
finished.
How many years in a row is that? 4?
4 in a row, I think 4.
4?
Yeah, but he's done. He's finished. Tyron Woodley to get choked out, to get submitted, a wrestler to get submitted. It just tells you a whole lot about Tyron Woodley and how far he's dropped off. We talked about Woodley's last fight, how he was just posturing, how he was just holding the gloves up, how he looked like Tyron Woodley on the outside, but on the inside, it was a shell of his former self. And I just think that's, Tyron Woodley, he's close to 40 now.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. He just gotten older. It's hard for him to go out there and pull the trigger. It's hard for him to go out there and shoot in and double leg, single leg guys like he did once upon a time. When he was young. The density in the muscles is not as as tight as it once was. Once upon. And the thing is, I say that because I know my density and my muscles are the same as they was once upon a time. So I'm just speaking from experience more than anything. And I just think Tyron Woodley, the clock has run out on Tyron Woodley more than anything.
I mean, but when you look at the fighters this guy has beaten in his career, you go Josh Koscheck, Carlos Condit, Kevin Gastelum, Robbie Lawler, Damian Maia, Stephen Thompson, Darren Till. Then he meets the Nigerian Nightmare, and it's all downhill from there. Lost unanimous decision to him, unanimous to Gilbert Burns. Then he taps out. Well, no, it was a TKO to Kobe Covington, right, because of his rib broke or what have you.
Yeah.
And then he gets choked out this last weekend. I mean, that's a rough way to go out. I know we talk about how Anderson lost to Chris Weidman and then really never won a fight after that, even though there's the Derek Brunson fight. But he really never truly won a fight after that. I didn't expect for Tyron to go out like this. I didn't expect for the 4 in a row.
You know what? I really did. Because Tyron Woodley was, he was literally holding on by women of prayer, going into a lot of those fights. The Darren Till fight, he just happened to have still enough left in the tank to fend Darren Till off. He didn't do a whole lot to win that fight against Darren Till. He waited on Darren Till to make mistakes. And he weathered the storm long enough for Darren Till to make certain mistakes. And there again, they tried to get the title off of him because they gave Darren Till a rematch, and he couldn't do it. So I think that was the level that T Wood was fighting at that point. He was still good enough to fight at that level, but anything a little bit above that level, it was going to be lights out for him. He wasn't going to be able to push himself to that point. And I just think there again, the clock ran out on Tyron Woodley, and best to his future endeavors.
Best his future endeavors for old Tyron Woodley, book. But, I want to talk a little bit about WrestleMania in our final segment when we get back from this break. So why don't you send them on?
Guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
WWE Hall of Famer, back in the day, many, many years ago, one of the top 5 workers in the world.
All time.
You remember when you pulled that rib way back in the day in WCW? And the whole locker room got all stirred up about it?
Especially Regal. Regal hated me, man, for doing that. He wanted to fight me all the time for doing that stupid deal. But hey, man, you know what though? I believed it. I believed it back then, man. I had to make myself believe it, man. In that locker room, it was a lot of top flight talent, man. Like yourself, like Jericho, and so Eddie, so many others, man. And if I didn't do that, but more importantly though, Steve, I went out and backed it up a lot of times too, man. I went out and worked my ass off to be who I became. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah. What you want to talk about, man?
You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Just caught me. What you want to talk about? You want to talk about WrestleMania?
Well, there have been several matches added, and I guess next week is our official go home week to WrestleMania, and I still expect more matches to be announced because they have to fill up not one but two nights. Which I guess technically, the last WrestleMania I attended in person was WrestleMania 35 in New York, New Jersey, and technically that show was so long it took place over two nights as well. So this isn't really unprecedented. I don't think we got on the buses till about 12:30, 1 in the morning.
You're right.
But there have been some matches announced. I figure right now we could talk about some of the matches that are going to be going on night one of WrestleMania, things that maybe we haven't discussed yet. We've talked about Sasha and Bianca. We've talked about Bobby and Drew. We've even talked about Bad Bunny and The Miz. But there are three matches that were just added that I do want to talk about from night one. The first being Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. This was just made official last Friday when Cesaro accepted the challenge. These two have been battling back and forth, but Cesaro has really been put in a position where he finally seems to be knocking on the door, right?
Yeah.
He's on the precipice of a big run, of a big title run potentially. And Seth Rollins is the guy to go up against if you want a high-level, high-caliber match at WrestleMania. So what do you think about Cesaro really finally getting his first real shot at a main event singles run at WrestleMania?
Well, I mean, Cesaro, I'm a Cesaro guy. I respect Cesaro, to the utmost. He's a guy that I can't wait to see, get the rub, get his time to, shine. It's going to happen for him. Him and I, we've talked about that many, many times, and I just always tell him, hey, man, just be patient, man. Don't get frustrated, you know what I mean? Because, talent, Cream rises to the top. He's Cream. He's definitely going to rise to the top at WrestleMania. He's in there with the perfect partner in Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, a guy that works at a very, very high level. WrestleMania has always been that that stage, for the wrestler to go out and perform at the highest level. No frills, no gimmicks, anything like that. You don't have a net or anything under you. You got to go out there. You got to deliver. And Cesaro, I don't think is going to have any problem going out there and delivering, having the perfect heel in Seth Rollins. The fans know their job. The referee know his job. We know our job. We're going to go out here and have a WrestleMania match that hopefully we both will remember for the rest of our lives. That's what I'm looking forward to in this match.
You just said something, though, that I haven't thought about until this moment. You said to go out there in front of the fans. The fans know their job. We haven't had fans in now north of a year in WWE. Do you think that's going to throw any of the boys when they go out there? Because they've been used to working for a year this one way with no crowd reaction, and now you're going to get it back all of a sudden. I mean, is it going to be like riding a bike, or could that throw you potentially? No,
man, you can't wait to get those fans back in that arena. That energy rush, seeing the fans is going to be experience. It's going to be a love fest as far as that goes right there. So I can only imagine, how good the guys are going to feel having 25,000 people screaming for him. And, I could tell you, I always said, the pandemic time was a really, really good time for guys to hone their skills. It was good for that purpose, that one purpose, and perhaps that one purpose only. But to get the fans back in the arena, that 6 man is so very important as far as our psyche go, especially when we got to do something like throw caution to the wind, do something where we know, it's going to hurt. But the fans, we're going to do it for them. It's all about the people. It's one of those type of deals. So, yeah, man, they're going to love having those fans back in the arena.
And I want to continue on with the WrestleMania conversation, but we have a question in here from Michael McKenna, and we've been talking about Hall of Fame so much on this show. Not this show, the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame. he had an interesting question that I've never thought about. Why is Miss Elizabeth not in the WWE Hall of Fame? She seems like she would be an obvious. I know she's no longer here with us, but Miss Elizabeth was as important to the Macho Man as any valet or manager I can remember to a main event world champion in the history of wrestling.
You know what, man? I'm not going to sit here and say anything other than, I echo the sentiment. Lovely Elizabeth definitely deserve her spot inside the Hall of Fame. And I was talking about just last week when we was talking about Eric Bischoff, and I said, I think about wrestlers. And Elizabeth, of course, she wasn't a wrestler, but what she, gave to the business and the footprint that she left is definitely something we're talking about it right now. It's definitely something that's going to be remembered for many, many years. I say it all the time. I don't think it would have been a King Booker and Queen Charmel if it wasn't, the Macho Man Randy Savage and the lovely Elizabeth. I just don't think it would have been. The Macho Man, finger up in the air and King Booker's pinky up in there. It never would have happened, if it wouldn't have been for the Macho Man, the lovely Elizabeth. So my thing is, yes, she deserves a spot inside, the Hall of Fame. Hopefully she'll get there.
Now, another match that was announced, and we can talk about this one for night 1 in WrestleMania. And it's an interesting one just on paper. It's going to be a steel cage match. Braun Strowman, who last year at WrestleMania won the Universal Championship, beating Bill Goldberg at WrestleMania in a matter of minutes. He's going to be taking on Shane McMahon inside of a steel cage. This is an odd matchup for me on paper, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Shane versus AJ was actually great. Shane versus Undertaker was a moment. Shane coming back with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's first match back, taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. Another great one. Shane versus Miz was great. I don't see these two connecting in the same way. Now, I could be wrong. They could go out there and blow the roof off, but a steel cage confines you to these 4 walls, which seems to go against what Shane McMahon's specialty is, which is climbing on top of something or brawling out in the crowd or doing just a street fight. I don't know. What do you think?
No, this is one of those things to where I think Shane is Shane's trying something here. Shane is trying to do something with Braun Strowman, perhaps that no one else has, and let's get something out of him that no one else has gotten out of Braun Strowman as well. Let's just think about Braun Strowman matches. How many of them do you really remember and say, man, you remember that Braun Strowman match with such and such? How many of them?
I mean, not a lot. I can think of maybe one. I
can't think of one. Okay,
him and Big Show on Raw.
I can't. That may be the one where the ring breaks and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, but other than that, you can't really think of a moment that Braun Strowman has really had inside the squared circle as not just a monster among men, but as a wrestler, having that memorable moment, that match that, man, was so over the top. I think that's what Shane McMahon is trying to do more than anything. Take Braun Strowman to a place that perhaps neither one of the boys on the roster could take him, just because Shane may be looking at it from a total different perspective, Shakespeare-wise, than anybody else is going to be looking at it. So that's why I'm waiting on the finishing product with that match right there, because I watched the way it started, the beginning of it, the B rating of Braun Strowman and down talking him, he's some dumb guy or whatever. And Braun Strowman's a really intelligent guy. We sat and talked with Braun, and we know how intelligent he is. So I think at the end of the day, you're going to see something out of this story that you're going to go, wow, I didn't see that coming. Hopefully.
You know what? Let me flip it on you. I guess we'll have time for this. This is the last question. In the same regard, what is your favorite? Because you've ran around with him right when you came into the company, and he's had a lot of great memorable moments. Do you have a favorite Shane McMahon match?
Kurt Angle.
Oh, great call at the King of the Ring.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Shane went out there and was bruised, battered, and torn after that match, man. And the glass didn't break a couple of times, and he had to suck it up and go into it broke. And I'm sure he was the one saying, give me another one. So no, that match right there, memorable. And that's with, the boss's son and, an Olympic gold medalist. And that's the match that I remember, I think, more than anything. Yeah.
Wow, man. I remember, I think Shane, or was it Kurt? Someone did an interview about that match. Oh, yeah, it was Kurt, because he said when he did the German to try to do through the glass this first time, he said Shane's shoulders hit the glass and then his head hit the ground.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Yeah.
God, scary stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scary stuff. But I don't know, but we have more WrestleMania to talk about. I guess we're going to have to do it all next week at our go-home shows to WrestleMania. 2 shows, 2 nights of WrestleMania. You're going to be there. It's going to be incredible. We'll have to talk about it then.
Yeah, man. Heck yeah, man. We definitely will. But I want to thank all the everybody in the chat, man, for hanging out with us today. Of course, Brad, appreciate you again. And again, guys, we'll be in the same place, same time on Monday. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. And I know you can dig that. Sucker, we out.
Can you dig it?